It's all right.
Tom,
Me?
I saw your little video, your rap video about the Packers.
Yes.
Why have you never told me that you are, in fact, the whiter cousin of Eminem?
You know, like when you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and they have like the paint samples, right?
Yes.
Eminem is like kind of
Taupe?
like 30% into like the white eggshell. I'm Ghost.
Oh, like they don't even show it. You got to
They-
specially request it.
Yeah, they have to go underneath the counter and they just pull out something that's translucent. That's basically, yeah. And they're just like, do you want this to be what your nursery looks like? Because I'm pregnant. And that's how I was able to rap, because I have a baby inside me that is M&M's.
What?
Oh, baby! We here.
We steer.
You in the right direction. Welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna, and this is GPS. And we are already off the rails. It's gone. It's gone. It took maybe 30 seconds. That's it. How you doing, buddy? Great to see you. I feel like it's been longer than Monday. Maybe it's just because today felt like it. I feel like Monday and Tuesday felt like very long days.
Oh,
And now we here. No, not for you.
Monday was very long.
Monday
Longest
was-
day I've had in a while.
Well, you also had the poop monster over the weekend. You told that whole story. But you
Yeah.
feeling better now? You feeling recuperated? You got your electrolytes back?
Yeah. I can survive a poop monster. It's a child who wakes you up every night that really starts to just question, has you question sanity,
Mhm.
why you do anything.
Mhm.
Sleep deprivation, I have to just confirm, got to be the worst torture there is.
You know what? Can you and I have a conversation real quick?
No,
Let's
that's not
have
what
a
we do on the show.
Let's have a. It's like our. This is nothing to do with. It kind of has something to do with football.
We yell takes at each other. Jordan's the greatest.
Love.
Yeah, you fucking hope so.
Got it. My question is, okay, when you were growing up, right? So I'm gonna have this go until like high school. Did you have a bedtime?
No, I never had a bedtime.
Okay, never had a bedtime. Okay,
No.
so did you have an internal bedtime?
Yeah, like,
So like, what was that? Like, around what time would that be?
honestly, I'd say elementary school. My second grade, bought a television for my room.
Ooh.
My dad, he's electronics wizard. So we had cable, and then he just rigged the cable to our rooms as well.
Like one of the split things.
Yeah, like,
Yeah, I get you.
The cable company didn't do it. He did it.
My father did the same exact thing. Yeah, I get it.
Got that TV, and I was like, oh my God, there's so much on television at night. So really, elementary school, my bedtime was like after I got through half of Leno. I was a big Leno kid.
So, oh damn. So you were late. Damn.
And then when I discovered Conan O'Brien, which was one of the best days of my life, I was like 5th grade, got to stay up and watch Conan every night.
5th grade?
Oh yeah.
5th? Dude, like my bedtime in elementary school was like 8:30.
I've got cassette tapes because I had one of those karaoke machines where you could record yourself talking. My buddy and I in 6th grade were doing Conan bits. Like we had our own Conan O'Brien show because we both loved Conan. So my bedtime was always late and I hated getting up early.
Interesting. So wait a minute. So then as you got older, did your internal bedtime change? Like did it shift? Did it be like, you know what? Or did it kind of stay like you were always a late night person?
I was always late night.
Okay.
until I had a child. That's the
Then
only.
you're all night. It's not late night
Until I
anymore.
was
It's all night.
36, late. And then that kid came. I was like, I need to be asleep as soon as humanly possible because I don't know if I'm going to be asleep for an hour, 5 hours, 2 hours, 9 hours. Just got to be ready.
Interesting. Okay.
Dude, I remember the first episode of Conan I ever saw.
There you go.
Well, the one that sticks out to me, he had a football player on, and he was throwing footballs through a tire on the show. He was like a college player who was going to be drafted, I believe. And then so like Conan's like, let me try, and Conan misses, and the guy's like, again. So Conan's like, okay, and he misses again. He's like, ah, shucks. And he's like, again. And Conan's like, no, I think I'm good. And he's like, again. And Conan like gets scared and starts doing it, and dude's just like yelling at him, and he can't make it. I was like, this man is a genius.
Did you eventually make it?
I don't think so. I think the whole bit was to never make it and just get yelled
first
at.
of all, I love how we literally, and the entire chat now sees it too. Like that explains so much of you, Brandon Perna. Like literally being shaped by Conan. Like now,
yeah. I always wanted to be Conan. I feel like I'm more of an Andy Richter though. I think you've got the stuff to be the Conan. I just need to be the guy who says one or two things every now and then that are possibly funny or awkward.
I now feel like I understand you better. And the reason I asked that is because I was thinking about that last night because I had a bedtime. Like I had to go to bed like at a certain time. It was like 8:30. Then like as I got a little bit older, it was like 9. I want to say I had a bedtime still until like high school. Like it was just, hey, like you still have one of like, this is when you should be going to sleep. And then like college completely destroys that because it's just like, there is no bedtime. It's only drinking and
it's drinking time,
drinking and homework time. But like, it really has been the last like 5 years where my sleep schedule has been destroyed. Like now, I legitimately last night, it was 11:30 at night. And I was like, wow, it's still really early. And I'm like, that's not normal. Like that is not a normal thing of being like, yeah, that makes sense. So, oh no, feel better, Beckett.
Oh, hey, Beckett Cox, I feel for you, buddy. Did you say CJ Uzama had food poisoning as well?
It's going around. And maybe he was at the hotel eating ravioli.
Yeah, stay away from the Ravs, CJ.
Just do it. Just do it. Just do it.
That's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me.
That was a very nice compliment. Oh my God. I just realized Nick's profile picture is Tree.
It's this Tree having sex with a hamburger.
Just did what I'm fitting. Boop for the kitty. Thank you. Listen, I worked it took 7 hours working on it. Here are my, because I write all my stuff by hand. So here literally is, this is the one to Aaron Rodgers. And then I started writing the one from Aaron Rodgers and I messed up so many times that I just then transferred it over here. Let's go.
Got a new clip for you, Justin.
Oh, no.
You like football? Hey, get back.
All right. That's a great clip.
Yeah.
That's a great clip. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate you. That's a great clip.
There's also an alt to that, guys.
You like football?
Yeah, I do.
We do too.
Reggie Barlow is my new hero of the XFL. Sorry, Kurt.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I made a big faux pas, Tom. I cannot stream on Saturday. I cannot stream Saturday.
You know what's really funny?
Stuff for Jess and my mommy.
You know what's really funny is you tweeted that out yesterday. Even though you and I had a conversation on this show live, I was like, "Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to Chicago, so like, let's see."
Yeah,
and then you just said,
I forgot that too.
Yeah, I was like, "No, we're streaming on Saturday," and I was like, "All right, I guess we're streaming on Saturday."
No, and then I deleted it. Sorry. You know what? Oh man, I gotta start listening to my intuition. I was like, you should double check with Tom before you tweet this. And I was like, no, Tom's always available to stream. Totally forgot you might be leaving. But yeah, I cannot do it. I even put it in a video that I was going to stream. And now it's just like, God, you're such an idiot. So I wish I had if I could do one thing different, Tom, I would go all the way back. Okay. Into my father's testicles. And I would choose a different sperm to be that had a better brain.
But then you wouldn't be you.
I'd be a smarter version of me. I'd probably be a little taller.
No,
I'd have man hands.
No, you would be a totally different person.
We don't know
No,
that. We don't
I
know
don't
how
want
it works
that.
down
No,
there.
I like the Brandon Perna that we got.
I just feel like as I get older, my brain gets so much worse. I don't know. I also think I might have went through life thinking I was smarter than I was. And over the last like 5 years, I've realized like just such average intelligence, like just such a pedestrian level of knowledge and memory and charisma. It's just like, honestly, my parents were too good. They were too encouraging. And I think it fucked me up. There's no way I will ever be
too
special.
nurturing and supportive.
Yeah.
You know what though? To be fair, if you made it through 33 years of life thinking like that's a good run. Like usually people find out like maybe if they go to college or they enter the workforce, they find out like, hey, like they could either confirm those biases that they have of themselves or yeah.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I had an unrealistic expectation of who I was and who I could be. And I ain't lived up to it. Except
so
for like
now
the
you're
important
like-
shit. Like, I've got a great family, made a great kid. But who I am as a person?
Oh. Wow, we really went to an existential crisis that started with Bedtimes, and now this is...
Anyway, I think I reflected upon this because I was so pissed off at the NFL last night. Like I legit had to ask, like, why are you so angry about the rule changes? And I do this every year. Every freaking end of March, early April, when they announce changes.
Yep.
And they do the same shit over and over again.
Yep.
Like I had to like not tweet out some stuff last night. I was so pissed.
Yep.
So when I went in for the rundown last night and I put the NFL wants to kill its players as the title, that was just me trying to vent a little bit to get ready for today.
I get you. Listen, sometimes the GPS note section is just straight up for venting.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a legit thing. Yeah, let's talk about it because this week you got the NFL annual meeting where you got all the people there, all the big wigs, and they're there and they're talking about the rule changes and they all wear funny shirts and you're just like, oh, wow, Brian Dable wore his sunglasses for the coach photo. Matt LaFleur is wearing a salmon shirt where he is just looking jacked. That thing is bursting. And Bill Belichick sitting front and center. We had that kind of news, but more importantly, we had some rule changes. Now you have players who could wear the number 0. Calvin Ridley of the Jacksonville Jaguars going to be repping that 0. So now, folks, you can buy your 0 jerseys, which I feel like, are we at all? Like, I'm honestly surprised it took this long. Like once we had like the number changes, I was like, okay, something like that is going to happen. I did. That's awesome. Congrats to Tree. But it's just like, why would you ever turn that down? You get to make more money.
Yeah.
Like you have a player who's going to take 0. Like they're going to sell a lot of Calvin Ridley 0 jerseys now.
Yeah. I saw it was Dave Damashek, I think, had the best tweet was like, shouldn't they allow Calvin Ridley to wear -3? I was like, oh, that's good. That's pretty good, Dave.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah, there's that. And didn't they open up where kickers could wear 90 to 99 and 40 to 49?
Maybe that one I did not see.
We'll look through the rules because we're gonna play a little game called Smash or Pass on the NFL new rules. But yeah, so players can wear 0.
Smash that rule.
Make some more money, which is all the NFL is really caring about. But the thing that got me fired up, Tom,
is the Falcons. Well, the Thursday Night Football and the
Falcons.
Falcons.
Things. Thanks for reminding me.
I got you.
3 things. First, the NFL now says teams can have 2 Thursday Night Football games in a season,
which is dumb.
So stupid. And then they opened the door for possible Thursday night flex scheduling.
Yes.
Which that's not approved. They're opening up the discussion for it.
They're tabling it until May, right?
Yeah. They go, well, let's figure out how we can really screw everybody over before we vote on this. So Those two things are in complete contrast of what the NFL uses to do everything else that we don't like. Not everything, but some things that we don't like about the rules, about the overprotecting of quarterbacks, the over officiating of roughing in the name of safety. Complete opposite of asking men who play this sport to do it twice on Thursday. Yes, Tom, question?
It was more of a comment before we really dove into this. I actually agree with one of those rule changes.
Which one?
Not the two. I think the flexing one, if they give them enough time, is a good change.
How much? Like, it's got to be like what?
I would honestly like
2 or 3 weeks out.
I would say my gut was 3 weeks. I don't think that they'll actually have that foresight because the NFL is a very reactive league and not a very proactive league. But they'll probably make it like 2. Didn't I see a number out there? It was like 15 days.
Are you on board with this because of all of the Thursday night games you had to stream and
Yes.
they basically slapped you in the mouth with a lack of entertainment?
Yes. But see, here's the thing though. If you tell teams with over a 2-week notice, then like, I think that's okay, but they still should only be doing it once. Like, there should only be like the Titans should only play on Thursday Night Football one time. Like that's it. I don't like the 2 thing that I don't like. But the reason I bring that up is because look at the Lions, for example. The Lions, who started off absolutely, they had 0 primetime games last year. 0, right? And then look at the Broncos. They had 5, or at least were scheduled to have 5. Throughout the year, there should have been an ability to be like, you know what? The Lions are actually playing really good football. They're really an exciting team right now. We should flex them with Thursday Night Football instead of the Texans and Colts. Like, I think that, with a 2-week notice, I think that that's fair.
Yeah. The fact that the NFL ever thought the Texans and Colts in primetime was going to be a good game was a really good sign that they don't understand their league at all.
Yeah, again, if there's enough time, I like it. And 2, as long as there's teams that aren't constantly just being like on there twice, because I know that players do not like it. And I like that I completely agree with. And I think that anger is 100% warranted because it's BS. Because Roger Goodell's like, oh, I talked to lots of players who love that extra rest that they get afterwards. I'm like, no, you didn't. Shut up. After
they do back-to-back car wrecks, they love the 10 days of rest. Well, there's a couple things. One, the issue with what you're suggesting is it has to be, I think it can only happen like for like the month of December.
Yeah.
And it's got to be teams that haven't already played in Thursday Night Football.
Correct.
Right? Because then you're asking teams to do it twice, which they've already allowed. So that doesn't matter. They'll be like, oh, yeah, we're going to flex the Chiefs back in there. That's just going to be the teams you probably, from a strategic standpoint, do not want playing in a second Thursday night game because they're going to be looking at the best teams. And those are the teams you don't want to get hurt or to
go into the playoffs. Yeah.
Right. Like they're going to want guys like Mahomes up there. They're going to want Aaron Rodgers in it. They're going to want Josh Allen, freaking Joe Burrow. Basically 90% of the QBs from the AFC, they're going to want to see there. NFC, they got some work to do. But like, so there's that issue of when and how you do it. One way you could make 2 Thursday night games work is if they're back to back for one of the teams,
because they don't play on that Sunday. They just play. So I
think wasn't this last season an example where the Cowboys played Thursday night Thanksgiving, and then I felt like they were on Thursday Night Football.
It might have been. I honestly
that
don't
same
remember,
week, or one of the teams I felt like was. So if you're playing a Thursday night game and then you get a week and you play Thursday and then
I think it's the Patriots. Was that the Pats? Because they played Thursday night on Thanksgiving against the Vikings, and then I feel like they played.
Okay, I felt like it was one team. It was back-to-back Thursday night games. But to me, if they do it that way, it kind of makes sense.
I get you.
And it's only going to be for a handful of teams they do that with. I don't like the flex part of it. The other, and this is
But they've opened the door for Monday too, because that's supposed to take place this season, is it not? Like where like they can flex out Monday Night Football and be like, hey, like no, we're gonna put that in, and like, but here's the problem, Brandon. You are looking at it, and it's not a problem of like you're in the wrong. You're looking at it from a player perspective, right? Yeah. Even though you're not a player, you're looking at it from like a player safety perspective of saying like, hey, car wrecks, literally like, multiple days apart, what have you. Then there's the fan perspective in which you have the average fan that is pining for this because there was and I know it's a joke now. Last year was really bad with primetime games. Like they were, and I'm not advocating being like, oh, that justifies it. But there were a ton of people complaining about this because it was like every Thursday. There was like, 2 good games? Yep. So that's why. Right. It's because you have the average audience is like, I don't want to watch this garbage.
Well, I think like Thursday Night Football has always been not as good. We've been complaining about it for a while. Last year was different in that all of the games felt a little painful. Games were not but good. Last year was kind of a weird season in terms of how the games actually shook out. There was more poor offensive play, defensively dominated games that resulted in low scoring, kind of weird matchups. A lot of them did happen in prime time. A lot of them were the Broncos, but like, that's the thing. It doesn't really, I think, even matter whether or not the game is good or bad. Like Broncos fans, I would like to go back and look at the numbers, but I bet you those were still highly rated games until maybe the last primetime one before they got flexed out. And then they flex out the Broncos, and the Broncos and Chiefs, they play one of their best damn games, most exciting games of the year in the game they got flexed away from primetime.
Yeah.
So to me, the primetime games aren't really, even though I just made fun of them for the Colts and Texans, about the matchup. It's just any game can be good during any week between any two teams. Like, I don't know how much more successful they'll be with a key matchup, like versus a good game between maybe two teams people are less interested in, because those fan bases are always just going to be a little less interested. Even when the Rams won the Super Bowl, it's like nobody gave a shit in LA. Like
the Rams, like they're listen, there's some Rams fans that are like, yeah, absolutely. But there was definitely like a muted response. Yeah. And it was like, okay.
Stop putting the Chargers and Rams in primetime because you got a $50 billion stadium and you're trying to force a giant market that you moved 2 franchises to, and it's just not working out the way you hoped.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think so. Here's the problem too. I think when you look at the reasoning, that's where I have a huge problem with. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, if you were like supposed to go see a Sunday game and then they got moved to Thursday, 100%. Because like I have to work the next day. But I think the big issue is you look at the motive as to why they're doing this. And at the end of the day, it's money, right?
Oh, yeah.
So because you have to imagine, and I'm gonna make an assumption here. I'm gonna go out on a limb that Amazon was like, hey, so we got a lot of crap games last year. We don't want as many crap games this year. You know that was a conversation. And listen, I despise with a burning passion Thursday Night Football on Amazon. I despise it because I think that it is very crappy to makes it harder for fans to enjoy your sport, because now you can watch it on Twitch, which is like, that's free. So that's good. But like the fact that you had to pay for it, like I hate the fact that like you have games that are going ESPN Plus. I hate that crap because it's just making it harder to watch games for an average fan. And I think those make my numbers better during streams because people can't find it or people don't want to pay for it. Right. And I still am like, I hate that because it just is not accessible to everybody. And like, you should just be able to get cable and being able to watch it. And that bothers me.
Yeah, I understand that. And how much did Amazon pay? Like 13 billion or
some insane
number. So I get why Amazon wants it, but Amazon also,
they paid $1 billion.
They had their biggest day of Prime signups in the company's history.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But what was the game though? It was the Chiefs and the Chargers, right? It was Chiefs Chargers.
Was that what kicked off the
I
season?
think because that was week
Oh,
2, which is
dude, I don't
technically
remember the last week.
it's like the
I
real
don't even know who
Thursday
played
night
in the Super
football
Bowl,
game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it
honestly.
was Chiefs Chargers.
But like you sign up, you get it for a year, right? Like that's a year commitment when you sign up. So like, I think that's beneficial to them. It's like a weird, different. It's a little bit different business model that Amazon has for this whole thing. But, like, if the NFL is trying to accommodate them because of the money Amazon spent, I sort of get that. But they can't be doing that every single year and then also claiming they're making the game safer. And
Yes.
honestly, what I would really like to see, because like what Darius Slay and old Patty Mahomes came out and on the 2 Thursday night football games and voiced their displeasure with it on Twitter. Like I want to see every quarterback do it. Like I respect the hell out of Mahomes being like, this sucks. Like, I don't like this because he is the biggest star in the NFL right now. Like, there's nobody bigger than Patrick Mahomes. And the fact that he was like, nah, this sucks. And because he knows he's probably going to be one of the guys that has to play those 2 games.
100%.
And even though his body rejects injuries the way my body refused to grow into a full grown man's body, like, he's going to be fine, but his teammates might not. Like, if Travis Kelce goes down playing in that second like Thursday night game, and it's not just about like the NFL keeps touting this, we don't find any evidence that more injuries happen on Thursday night football. I don't think they're looking at the bigger picture in that.
I know what you're talking about.
You're putting players' bodies through something really just shitty, and you're asking them to do it twice. It's more about the longevity, and maybe a guy doesn't come out and say, oh yeah, I hurt my hamstring in that game. But maybe he's not recovering from his injury the way he should be because he had to do it. It's a hamstring, It's a shoulder, it's some other thing, some other wear and tear issue that they're trying to force him to do. And like a lot of people think this is just the preamble to them adding just one more football game. And that was the last thing I would say about ratings on Thursday Night Football. People stop paying as close of attention later because you added another game. Like, it's not as important every week.
I hate it.
There's that extra game.
I hate it. But that's for you, Perna. You got to fitty.
Oh, Amazon Thursday Night Football is crap. I was deployed to Iraq and could not stream due to my area, and it refused to work with VPNs. It was that probably the least American thing that's ever happened. Not allowing people serving to watch Thursday Night Football. Can't stand for that. Can't stand for that. Dang.
Now you have to play the USA thing. It's the finger guns. You have to because it's in there now. Now it's in there.
Where is it? Where is it?
It's tough to find.
Is it called finger guns?
I think it's called guns.
Oh, there it is.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's a great clip. It's a great clip.
That wasn't the one with USA is the Dahmer one.
Oh, oops. That's okay.
Poser. USA. Jeffrey Dahmer. USA. Dear please.
That's the one. That's the one. My bad. I got the clips. Wow, that's darker then. Okay. Well, Jeff Bezos. So there is an offer for $6 billion. I still want to talk about this rule stuff. There, right? It's $6 billion. It's from Canada.
Canada. Oh yeah.
Well,
hey, look at me. I'm an old Canadian.
I get it.
Football, but my field needs to be bigger.
I get it. You're old because you have health care and can't afford being
I'm
old.
900 years old.
That's what happens. That's what happens.
I saw a mastodon.
Nailed it.
XFL, it's every league. Starts high, dips down, and then when the games get really important, it goes back up. We're living it with the XFL right now.
But you and I have noticed this too over the past 2 seasons. The addition of the extra game is not good for like our business because you do have people tune out.
Oh yeah,
it is one too many games. 1,000,000%.
Yeah, it's when you've got that flexibility of every game doesn't matter, people can take a week off of watching. Take 2 weeks off. They're not checking their, what are they saying about my team?
Yep.
Because they fucking know.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the ultimate issue, right? Because the NFL is the biggest league in the United States.
Yeah.
By far. It destroys. Even if it's like the NBA finals, like the Super Bowl blows them out of the water, right? The top, like out of the top 10, I think like football owns like 6 or 7 of the primetime slots every single year, right?
Yeah.
One of the reasons why is because with baseball, hockey, basketball, there's so many games that if your team loses, hell, 3 games in a row, you're like, all right, like it sucks, but it's fine. Like there's so many games, it doesn't matter. Football, your team loses 3 weeks in a row, it's the end of the season. Like you're probably not going to make the playoffs. If you start 0-3, it's like you're screwed. Yeah. And it had that kind of like importance, and it still does. But when you start diluting that, I think you take away what makes the NFL as popular as it is, or at least a little bit of that. Because you had like for 18 weeks or 17 back in the day, like you were locked in because you have 16 games and you're like, even if we lose like 1 or 2 of these, we can be a lot of trouble. Like if you have a team that lost 5 games, that's a wild card team. Like you automatically are not going to be one of the top teams in the league just because you lost 5 games. And you don't see that in a lot of other leagues in the United States.
They had it perfect with 16 games. It was the perfect amount. The schedule, the cycle was great. They had 17. It's not the worst. I don't like it. It's not as good. But if they do go to 18, don't make more money because they all get one more round of TV rights, one more round to sell tickets to games. But like there's nothing we can do about it.
No.
The only way we could solve them doing 2 Thursday night football games is if like they put the team in there, they're playing their second Thursday night game is nobody watched. And that will never gonna happen. Ever happen. You cannot convince football fans to not watch.
Correct.
Even when it is a shitty game, and even when it's not your team, you're just a dude sitting around on Thursday night. You're like, oh yeah, I'll watch the Browns and the Broncos play on Thursday night. Why not? What am I going to watch? CSI 19? I'm going to watch CSI Bang Theory. Oh, actually, I would watch that. CSI Bang Theory. We investigate how this couple had sex.
We were on the rails, and now we're off. Well, wait, no, we weren't.
Narrated by Lester Holt.
Oh, okay. I'll watch that. Anyway, yeah, I think that the problem is it's going to just continue to happen. And like, I do like the idea of being able to flex things out. Like it's very ironic. I'm very grateful I didn't have to watch the Broncos in primetime again, but they played their best game when they weren't in primetime because it was against the Chiefs and it was actually a really good game. So like you said, you never know, because even the Texans-Eagles game, which I was like, oh, this is going to be like terrible. The first half was really good. Like the first half was like solid and competitive. Everyone was making fun of the Panthers-Falcons when that was on the Thursday night schedule. Their Thursday night game was not good. But the one they played on the Sunday at like 1 o'clock that went into overtime, like DJ Moore, like that was a phenomenal game. I was like, oh, this Thursday game might be good. It's like you said, the unpredictability of the NFL makes it fun because you might see 2 really bad teams, but they just like put on a show.
Yeah. You never know.
But you want to go through the was that 1 or 2 things that made you mad?
That was 2.
Okay.
The third thing was Arthur Blank, who I usually like Arthur Blank. I don't mind Arthur Blank.
It ain't wrong. Go ahead, Perna, explain why you're upset.
But he was asked about if the Falcons would be interested in Lamar Jackson, right? Something many people have said, like, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Lamar in Atlanta. And old Arthur Blank said, there's some differences between Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson. I'm paraphrasing here, because why would I do an exact quote? But basically, he said, we see some risks with Lamar Jackson that we didn't see with Deshaun Watson. Style of play being one of them.
Yep.
We're worried about Lamar Jackson's style of play. That's why we don't value him the way we value Deshaun Watson. There's some more risks with Lamar Jackson versus Deshaun Watson, who at the time had 24 lawsuits hanging over his head. 24 for varying degrees of sexual assault to sexual misconduct to just being fucking weird. Who had to serve an 11-game suspension, who took an entire year off. Oh, Lamar's missed some games the last 2 seasons. That guy sat out an entire year, and then was suspended for 11 games. We see some risks with Lamar. His style of play. Do you watch Deshaun Watson play football? He extend plays. He takes hits too. It's just a little different the way he does it. Before all the stuff happened with Deshaun Watson, would I agree Deshaun Watson was a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson? Yes. I thought Deshaun Watson was the best quarterback in the NFL because I was watching what he was doing on the Texans with the worst team. And I was like, he's as good as Patrick Mahomes, but he doesn't have the coach or necessarily like the exact team around him. So I get all of that before. But the fact that they are just finding excuse after excuse to be like, yeah we'll find some ways to not value Lamar Jackson and what he's done. And I get, yeah, sure. He has had injuries the last 2 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. Both of those injuries came in the pocket getting hit, not because he was running the football. Last year's one definitely happened in the pocket because he was sacked by my Denver Broncos, and that messed up his knee, not because he was running. It's just like, just say it. Just be like, just say the truth. Be like, we don't like the way he plays the position as much as we like the way Deshaun did. And we are willing to live with Deshaun possibly being one of the shittiest people allegedly in football versus a dude who's done nothing but give back to the community, whose freaking teammates love him, who has just gone about trying to get his contract a little bit different. They fucking hate the fact that Lamar Jackson is doing it his own way at the position. They just do. Although, you know what? One thing I missed too is Harbaugh. When he was giving his interviews, when Lamar announced that he wanted to be traded, I thought Harbaugh actually handled that entire situation really well. If you watch like his whole thing, and you know, he has experience doing this, but he said exactly all the right things for the Ravens under the gun. Like, he wasn't prepared to do it, but he showed more support for Lamar in that moment than he did all season when nobody knew what the hell was going on with him. He was like, I love Lamar. I love that man. It's like, where was that when everybody was questioning like why Lamar wasn't playing? Anyway, maybe it's because I'm a little like, I really enjoyed Lamar Jackson's MVP season. Like, I was like, this is one of the most fun seasons I've had watching a quarterback play that wasn't a Broncos quarterback. And to see like all this BS just happen around him after Watson got it, after Watson got not only the most money, but they gave up so much to get him. But we can't figure it out for another guy who's pretty damn good. Anyway, sorry. I'm ranting.
Don't gotta apologize.
I do feel better.
Good.
That's what this show's about.
I knew you were pissed about that because like I saw your tweet yesterday. I was like, oh, he pissed. Like, that's not like stupid. Like, no, like that's a legitimate gripe. And it makes sense. I mean, here's the thing. The Falcons also had a really easy out and be like, you know what? No, we believe in Desmond Ridder, which they kind of did say, but you're just like, hey, like, we want that. But talk about what Harbaugh said. He also said, like, because I think he was asked, did he reach out to Lamar? And he's just like, I don't think he wants a coach right now. Like, there's nothing I can really do for him, but like, I'm here if he needs. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, that's a perfect response. It's just like, hey, he needs me. I'm here, but I'm not going to just like butt in just because I think that's the right thing to do. So I understand what you're saying though. Cause I think that it's the NFL all in of itself again. You can't say one thing and then do another completely different opposite thing. Like there has to be some consistency here. There, you can't say we care so much about player safety. It's the most important thing. We're going to make teams play 2 Thursday night football games in what's going to like destroy their bodies. Yeah. You can't do that. You can't be like, yep, no, we were in on Deshaun Watson. We're not in on Lamar Jackson because we don't like his style of play. Again, if you're saying it's just because Desmond Ridder, he showed some flashes, like, it's our guy. There is no conversation
last year. That's like, I get all that. And that's fair to Desmond Ridder. Like if they believe in him, he deserves a chance to become the guy. Played a little bit last year. I'm all about guys getting those opportunities. The thing that people keep forgetting too, and like I touched on this in one of the videos last week, but like Lamar severely outplayed his rookie contract. Severely overperformed. They don't get raises. They don't get more money when they do that.
Yeah.
So it's really annoying when it comes time to actually pay them what they are valued. They don't get the money for past work.
I saw this yesterday. I don't know if this tweet, maybe you retweeted it. I saw this tweet yesterday. It
was about Josh Allen.
Yeah. So Josh Allen career earnings 85 mil, Lamar Jackson 33 mil, same draft class, last 2 years eligible, 67 mil, 25 mil. Yeah. It's true. Like that's the business aspect. And here's where people can say, well, if you had an agent, and like we can talk about these hypotheticals all we want. The reality is that's true. That's over 50 million. That's a $50 million difference. And that's all. Listen, I know folks, once we start talking about tens of millions of dollars, it loses its potency, I feel like, really easily because none of us are going to see this type of money ever. But $50 million is like, that is generational wealth that is going to set up families and generations for years to come. And this is not to go back to Josh, like that's awesome on Josh Allen. Like, and that's why you and I are always on the same page when it comes to players getting paid, getting money, helping out. EJ mentioned it when he was coming out here too. You get drafted, you create generational wealth for your family. Like that's amazing. At the same time, it also looks at this and is like, hey, like that is a huge difference that, as Ross Tucker said, like that's never going to be made up.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny because one thing I think Lamar's doing that's smart is right now, Chargers talking to Justin Herbert about his contract.
Yep.
And I like that comparison, Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson. And maybe Justin Herbert doesn't get as much as we think he's going to get. And then I'll be like, oh, shit. Okay, I was wrong. The market's changed a little bit. But I think Justin Herbert's going to get an insane amount of money.
He's going to get a lot of money.
And then if Lamar hasn't signed his deal yet, he's just like,
yeah.
What has Justin Herbert done that I haven't? Losing the playoffs? We both did that. We both done that. Did he win in the playoffs yet? No. Did he get his team to the playoffs multiple times? No. Did he win MVP? No. Did he break the record for most rushing yards in a season by a QB? No. No. And it is the run first quarterback that teams love for the rookie deal. But I feel like when Jalen Hurts needs to get paid, actually, the Eagles will take care of Jalen Hurts. I just think they're a classier organization than the Ravens.
Classic.
We'll see where Justin Fields progresses to, but like what Lamar does is directly going to affect those players and how they're able to negotiate and get their next contracts, because it's a different style of play at the QB position, but it's just as effective. But there's this like thought that like, oh yeah, we'll pay Justin Herbert more because he plays in the pocket. Well, he didn't miss any time. He played through a fractured rib cartilage half the year last year.
Would you say then that Jalen Hurts might be, I would say, like a more accurate comparison in terms of play style, because like he plays more mobile, like he can run and he can throw, because like Justin Herbert's seen as like a traditional, like in the pocket passer? So would you say that maybe it would be like Jalen Hurts' contract that Lamar really has a ton of leverage and looks and is like,
yeah,
guys.
Lamar's contract will affect, I think, Hurts, and I think it'll affect Fields' contract. And saying injury and style play is BS because Deshaun Watson was hurt his rookie year and had to. Yeah, exactly. And you can tear your ACL from the pocket. You can tear it running. Phillip Rivers tore his ACL in the. Tom Brady tore it in the pocket. I get the longevity concern too, because I think we're seeing Russell Wilson struggle to kind of change his game to fit what his skill set used to be. Lamar's 26. Even if he wants like the 5-year deal, I'm willing to bet on Lamar Jackson still being pretty damn good all the way until he's 31. If Lamar was 32 years old right now and we're talking about his third contract, then I do get the concern, because it's not
how long
about
is that going to last?
Durability. It's about how much more athletic is Lamar Jackson at 32 going to be than 24-year-old defenders on the field. Sure. That's just life. That's just father time fucking with you, not your skill set.
That's a great point. That is a great point, because at some point it's just like you're going to lose a step in terms of mobility, and there are 22-year-olds who are coming to take your head off.
Yeah. But, there's a lot of X factors with Lamar's contract situation, and I do get it. It is a bit of a wild card because I think he's approaching this in a way that's atypical. I don't know if it's good or bad because we don't really have access to that info. I understand that it's not been easy for the Ravens to negotiate with him, like all of that. Sure. And we don't know what the Ravens are ultimately going to offer. And I think one thing Harbaugh alluded to is like, this is about the money. And I think Lamar saying he wanted to be traded could just be leverage to get the Ravens to pay him what he wants. And maybe they get him that deal. Maybe they don't. But
here's, all right, I want to walk down this road because I feel like this is a great conversation in terms of what is the end game for Lamar Jackson. Because if we are talking about, let's go with that adage, right? Because he is a mobile QB, the risk of getting injured is increased. Whatever amount we could throw out there, don't really care. That's honestly moot for this conversation.
Yeah. You should worry about that with Josh Allen too, then, right?
100%. 100%. So
Josh Allen takes hits like Derrick Henry does out there, and we love it.
Correct. So if you are Lamar Jackson, though, you know this, and so you want to make sure that you get paid because, heaven forbid, because there's an increased injury risk, this may be the only enormous contract you get ever. So you want to make sure that you capitalize on that. And that's why I think the guaranteed money is such a big deal. And I think that if you are giving Deshaun Watson all that, and again, I'm sorry, it's not the rest of the league's fault that the Browns are run by idiots. It's not. But the precedent is there. And if you are giving him, of all people, all of this guaranteed money, which regardless if he plays well or not, is going to set him up and his family up for generations, Lamar Jackson can ask for the same thing.
Yeah, it's like these rookie guaranteed deals. They should end the moment a player wins MVP while they're in that contract. Like that should just be like, nope, we have to renegotiate right now. Because
why isn't that, Brandon? Come on, say it out loud for everyone to hear. Why isn't that?
Because the teams don't want to pay those guys for as long as possible. It's why the Ravens traded back up into the end of the first round.
Correct, so they could get a 5th-year option on him. So but Brandon, look at how we talk about things. What was the strategy for years? You win a Super Bowl with a rookie QB because you can underpay the crap out of them. Because once they are actually paid what they're worth or somewhere near that, it's going to start tightening up the rest of your salary cap. And it's a legitimate strategy. And if the Ravens cannot win with giving Lamar Jackson an enormous contract, that's on the Ravens. That's not Lamar Jackson's problem. Now, it's his problem because if he wants to go back to the Ravens, they may turn around and say no. But like, I'm sorry, this is not a Tom Brady situation, because everyone points to Tom Brady and says, well, look at all the pay cuts that he took and look at all that. And like, let's just call it what it is. And this is not an insult. His wife at the time was worth $1 cajillion, never really had to worry about that. Right. And he also played for so freaking long. The guy made so much money. And on top of that, the endorsement deals, the TB12s, all of it, that's where all that extra money came in. So he could turn around and be like, you know what? I don't need to take as much money from the team to go win a ring. Because guess what? Every ring that I do get, it makes my endorsement deals even bigger. So, like, it is perfect for him. But Lamar Jackson, who has had one contract, his rookie deal, picked at the end of the first round, there's a big difference, folks.
Yeah.
So, yes, I understand.
I don't think Lamar is a run-first QB. I think Lamar is just so good at running the football, they design more plays for him to do it. And I think people forget, like, he's actually a pretty good passer, too. And the reason he gets knocked still, I think, is because there are passes in games that he misses that are they're easy passes.
Sure.
The reason they get missed sometimes is because the QB's on the move, trying to make it. And when that is a little bit part of your game, when you're on the move a lot and you're trying to make all those throws and you don't have freaking Patrick Mahomes' arm, he's an anomaly, or even Josh Allen's arm, you're going to miss some of those throws. Sometimes you'll sail it a little high because you're running. Jalen Hurts does that from time to time. But overall, still some of the most effective passers in the league, because they don't pass as much and their efficiency is a little better over time. But yeah,
I think here's like, honestly, the thing that really gets at me a lot. I think that Lamar Jackson is betting on himself and he is feeling the consequences of that right now, but he's not even given the opportunity to really bet on himself because of whatever the hell is going on. You know what I mean? Like, if he could turn around, like, legitimately, if he could turn around and be like, you know what, I'm a free agent, which he can't even be a free agent. He doesn't have any control over his own contract. If he could go out and be like, you know what, I will go sign a 1-year deal with the Houston Texans and I will blow everything out of the water, right? And I'll bet it all on myself and hopefully I could just go in and kick ass.
Yeah.
But he doesn't even get that opportunity. So it's because here's the problem. We're sitting here going, yes. We're sitting here saying Lamar Jackson is or isn't worth the money, right? The chat is saying, there's some people saying that he's not worth the money. He's too much of an injury risk, all that. And you could have that opinion. Not taking that away from you. Brandon, you could sit here saying he's 100% worth the money. At the end of the day, what do we base those two things on? The idea of like value. The first thing is talent and ability. How good of a player is he? That's probably the most important one. And the second one is the market. You can look at running backs, though all the running backs who are like phenomenal players, we can look, they don't break the bank because the market, they can be the most talented people ever. The market dictates if they're going to get paid a ton of money. Right?
Yeah.
It's those two things. The market indicates that Lamar Jackson should get paid a ton of money because that's the QB market. It's the most important position in all of football. And the Deshaun Watson deal indicates that Lamar Jackson should get paid a ton of money. That you cannot refute that. That is literally what the market is saying. Now, we can talk about his talent and his ability. We could talk about his talent and ability, and that's where we could have varying degrees of like, okay, how much would he be worth? Blah, 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 blah. But the fact that he can't even test this out because of the contract that he's under, the franchise tag that he now is supposed to or has to play under, like it's difficult. It's a difficult spot to be in because it's not like hey, let me go. It's not an Odell Beckham Jr. It's like, hey, I can still go play. Let me sign a 1-year deal with a franchise and just like blow it out of the water. And then you can pay me a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's not what we're at.
It's so funny. It just, they use the market to fit whatever narrative they need to sell their fan base. So like,
correct.
The market dictated that the Giants needed to overpay for Daniel Jones.
Yes.
Based on his production. And what's kind of unnoted there is a big part of what Dan Jones and the reason his value went up is because they used Dan Jones to run the football way more than they ever had before. Because Brian Daboll realized that's a strong part of his game. Daniel Jones had his best rushing season ever as a QB. That's not a concern. Nobody's talking about Dan Jones running the ball more and being a concern. So the market dictates we overpay for Dan Jones. But for whatever reason, the market also dictates that we cannot overpay for Lamar Jackson.
Disagree with this completely. I disagree with it. Any workplace, you open that door. If Brandon and I are working for a company and I find out and Brandon tells me, hey, they're paying me $64,000 a year, you're only making $60,000 a year, they opened that door. That means that, yes, now employees who have the same amount of experience, talent level, all that great stuff, they should be getting paid $64,000. That is not a Lamar Jackson fault. That is a league thing. It's like you just said, Brandon, you can't say, hey, it's the market, it's dictating it, but then saying, oh, well, no, it's not comparable when it doesn't fit a narrative. BS completely. Because at the end of the day, we see it every single year, every single week. Guess what the NFL is? It's a business. It's a business from the front office of Roger Goodell and getting all these TV deals and all that stuff. But it's a business within a business with the players, and there is a market. That's why we have a salary cap. And if you overpay for somebody, look at the Jaguars. They paid a lot of money for wide receivers. What happened to the wide receiver market? It went up. The QB market going up every single time. So what happens when a new QB contract comes up? It goes up and it breaks the market every time. Joe Burrow is going to get a ton of money. Someone said Justin Herbert's going to be $1 billion. It might be Joe Burrow. He's going to get a lot of money. So that's what I'm trying to argue here. It's not Lamar's fault that the market, it changed. Deshaun Watson's deal changed the market for QBs. That's nobody's fault except the Browns organization. Yeah. And so, yes, you could say the owners want to drive it back down. But guess what? If you're a player, you could be like, that sucks. Sorry, because you opened the door. And now that the door is open, I'm going to try to walk through it.
And there's two teams that can't get a pass on that right now. And it's the Ravens and the Bengals, because that's their same division. Yep. Like Herbert, they can be like, we're the Chargers. We're cheap. We love you, but let's make this a little below market. And actually Herbert and Burrow both might be like, we'll take a little less. Like, I don't know. That's been reported about Burrow being willing to do a team-friendly QB contract. Sure. All the agents hate it. Lamar doesn't have an agent, so that obviously. But like, it's really tough when the team that did the dumb thing is in your division.
Yes, so, I agree with that. They're in your backyard.
Yeah, and you know, Deshaun Watson may very well play like he used to this coming season. Being out of football for as long as he was, that's messes with your game. But it's like we see the bullshit. We smell the BS. That's why we get worked up about it. And there's nothing, like, again, with the rule changes, there's nothing we can do. We just sit back and watch and wait.
Sure.
And I think most people like Lamar Jackson. They want to see him get his value. You know what I mean? It's not like, I don't know. I mean, I hated Tom Brady, but I never like was mad about what money he was making. I think like most of the time people want to see guys get paid. The people who have the hottest opinions about it are fans of that team.
Sure.
Because they're like, well, are we going to be able to sign other players and do other things? Like the Ravens have always been very good at drafting players. And if we're being like honest about the Ravens, they've also been very good about not paying guys when it comes time to pay them. Like they let guys they draft and develop go because they know they're going to get another one. The QB position's a little
Zadarius Smith. I mean, like they literally waited for Flacco until the last possible second. He won a Super Bowl and they were like, crap. Well, now we have to.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Lamar is worth close to Rodgers' contract. It's about getting closer to $50 million a year, I think, than maybe what all the guaranteed is. And Dan Jones getting $40 million a year? Like, come on.
Guess who also like again, Deshaun Watson also had injuries. He's a mobile QB. Like, I don't know how many times to say it. And like, we're talking about markets and stuff, but again, they're all employees. Like, the players are all employees. And when you find out, like, if you have a comparable skill set and or talent level, you in any business that I have ever worked in, ever, if your employee starts getting paid more money, you have a right to. Now, if you're going to get paid that's a different scenario, right? I could go, if I find out Brandon's making $64,000 and I'm making 60, I go to my boss and be like, hey, he's making $64,000. I should make 60. My boss can tell me to go piss off. You're fired. Bye. 100% can do that. That's within their rights. That's their business. And that might be what other owners are doing right now. Yeah. They might be turning around and saying, you know what, Lamar, what they did over there, the Browns, take a hike. Oh, well, go kick rocks. But I think it's also Lamar's right to then turn around and be like, no, like, I want more money.
Yeah. I think like maybe one thing too. So I think I like Kyler Murray's contract.
A lot of guaranteed, second highest, right? Guaranteed.
Yeah, it was massive. I think there's just a different philosophy at the top of those organizations. And this is another issue, and maybe it's not been talked about. It's like the Ravens are a well-run organization. You may not like exactly how they do it, but historically, they're well-run. So they're confident in what they do. Cardinals, not so much. So they have Kyler Murray, and they're like, he is a very good football player. Mm-hmm. We will pay to keep him around because who knows if we can do it again. I think the Ravens legitimately believe they could find another Lamar Jackson. They could get another guy. They could develop him and still be successful, and they might not be wrong. Cardinals, I don't feel that way. Chargers, certainly I don't feel that way. Like, I think that's also maybe a little bit of difference in terms of like the philosophical approach from the top down. Also, Lamar Jackson has never had any sort of questions around him the way Kyler Murray has. So using Kyler Murray as an example of why to pay Lamar Jackson is great because incredible teammate, Lamar Jackson, never had any work ethic, studying issues. Like, there's been weird, dumb things. We don't know what's true about Kyler or not there. But we know it's not been like unanimous. Like, this guy's like all in about it.
Correct.
I feel like there's no reason not to pay Lamar at this point, other than the two things.
And I want to be very clear too. I completely understand and do not expect Lamar Jackson to get Deshaun Watson's contract. I don't expect him to get paid more than Deshaun Watson. I don't expect him to, because I think that deal is an outlier. I want to be very, very clear about that. However, it still can shift things up for Lamar Jackson. And I think you could use the Kyler Murray, I think, is a great one. He should get paid more than Kyler Murray, in my opinion. And you could disagree with me. That's just my opinion. I think that he should get paid more than Kyler Murray. I think he's done more. I think he's proven more. And I think he's a better player right now than Kyler Murray.
Does anybody talk like Kyler got hurt? Maybe that's an example of why they don't want to pay Lamar. But like, he hurt his knee. Knees can get... Deshaun Watson could get hurt this year. He could get hurt just doing a regular 3-step drop.
Yeah.
Looking to pass. His own teammate falls on his ankle or his knee or some shit, right? Like, so the fact that they're like, well, the guy could get hurt. No shit, it's football. Anybody can get hurt. Any play.
So and I know I'm going to use a quick. We can get off it. I think it's a really great conversation, and I appreciate chat. Like, legitimately, I appreciate like the conversation that we're having because I think it's a really good conversation. And I appreciate the respectfulness that everybody is being for the most part. I think in terms. So I worked back in the day. Super quick analogy. I worked at a Catholic school for a bunch of years. I came in, I had a master's degree and no teaching experience, but I had that master's degree and I came in and they were like, okay, starting salary is like $51,000. And I said, okay, so took that salary, was like, whatever, that's what it is. Right. Because in teaching, usually if it's a public school, there's a sliding scale. If you have so many like years of experience, you get paid a certain amount. Like you go on that scale. Right. If you have a master's degree, if you have a PhD, blah, 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 you get to like, you start at a higher point if you go into a new district. So I got hired at $51,000 with a master's degree, which should have given me more money, whatever. So 2 years later, right? It was a year later, our president goes and makes a big PowerPoint about how well all our teachers are paid and said that our starting salary is like $54,000. And I was like, and that's without a master's degree. And I was like, hold up a second. Nay. I was like, I started at 50. I literally went into the office and I like printed things out and I was like, so I started off with 51 and I had a master's degree. So how does that work? And I wound up getting a bump because like, and that's the point that I'm trying to make is within a business, if you're saying this is like the starting point, you obviously make more, and it depends on the position. And in football, there's a lot more nuance than this. But I think at some point you need to also turn around and say, where's the cap? What's the highest that somebody's making, which in this case would be Deshaun Watson? And where am I on that scale? And I think right now, considering how QB contracts are going, he would be between a Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson in terms of just revenue based off of how well he plays, etc.
Yeah. You need to factor in Lamar's rushing TDs and yards. I think to make that a fair comparison.
Sure.
Whoa. Sure. What is the heart stuff? Is this something from Paris?
Oh, you can react to things now. Yeah, you can react to like the live streams on YouTube. Dash, enough. So that's what it is.
That's kidding.
On. Belcher, I got you. Steelers, I got you. Sorry, Sinclair's like borking up a storm right now.
Don't blink. If you're a blinker, cut your eyelids off.
Yep. So, also that is very true. That is very, very true. I've had that in a couple of different professions where they're like, "Oh yeah, it's legal." It's not legal. Anyway, no, we're also giving like work advice. Anyway, do you want to just pull up the rules real quick?
Yeah, sure.
And just be like, yay, nay. That was a good combo, and I appreciate having that. That was good. Oh my goodness. Dash, go upstairs then. Go.
Screen share.
Okay.
There we go.
Let's do
so
it.
Visually interesting, huh, guys?
Oh yeah.
All right. Players can wear 0.
That was like the one that got the most publicity. 100% Stern. 100%.
Okay, so punters and kickers can wear 0 to 49 and 90 to 99. Honestly, I think kickers should have to wear 0 to 49. I think they should only be allowed to wear numbers in the 40s. They're the worst numbers. Kickers get a really cool number, like they can be 1 or 3 or 2. Unless you're like a 10-year vet and you've won a Super Bowl on your leg. That should be the only way you could wear 0 between 0 and 10. And 99, like JJ Watt can wear 99 and also
Wayne Gretzky.
Well, he's not a kicker. I literally couldn't. Harrison Butker can wear 99 too.
Double 9s.
All that said, I don't give a shit about the jerseys.
Play clock change following replay reversals. Yeah, that.
Don't care.
Yeah, that's easy. That just goes to
I
40
like
seconds.
this rule. I actually like this addition. Failed fourth down attempts can be booth reviewed.
Yes. It's like a turnover.
Yeah.
Because technically it's turnover on down, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that's smart. They expanded the launch definition to include a player having 1 foot on the ground. So now you can launch at somebody and not have both feet off the ground.
It's true.
Okay. I think we get it. That is something in the name of safety. We have seen the launching thing get miscalled from time to time, but for the most part, I think it protects players.
You see, you can be theoretically called for this if you forcibly hit the opponent's pinky finger with your helmet during a launch.
Oof. Whoa.
Because
that's actually, I thought you were making a joke.
No, because it's the intention. That's what it is. It's the intention. If you are launching, it's like you're intending to hurt that person. So.
Yeah, or you're just trying to make a tackle in a violent game of football, but...
Okay, Perna, this is not like the official NFL one. Like, this is... What website is this from? Okay, because I'm like, this is not written like it's from the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I don't think that they put that pinky thing in the actual like NFL bylaws now.
Maybe not. Maybe I grabbed the wrong link here.
I was like, this doesn't look official.
Where? Oh my god.
Can you just go on the? Hold on, I'll check it final. Oh, we're prepared.
Updates. This is updated 5 days ago. Nobody cares.
This one, helmet as a weapon. Guard. Oh yeah, I know they're doing like. They're talking about using Guardian caps more. The big cat helmets that you saw on there. The hip drop tackle. I think they're talking about that in May because people want that banned. Because that leads to an injury rate at least 20 times more than other tackles. Why can't I just find like a nice...
I mean, these are the ones. It's just they wrote their own little quips in there.
Okay, whatever. All right, just continue then. We'll rock. All right, so then legal handoffs.
Oh, yeah, tripping. I think they're calling this the Mac Jones rule.
Yeah.
It's now a personal foul going from 10 to 15 yards. Now disqualified for flagrant violations. So
yeah. Oh, that's why Tom Brady really retired.
Yeah. It's so funny though to me, like tripping. Yeah, it's kind of crappy. But are you really in more danger if somebody trips you than tackling you?
I don't even think it's a hurting thing. I think it just stops the play, and it's like that's the problem. It's like it's a last ditch effort.
Yeah, like I don't think it should be allowed, but I don't know about this disqualify. Like, how flagrant are we talking?
This is, by the way, someone was at Boto, I think, was just asking like what a hip drop tackle is. It's this. Please hold.
And
this guy, just people can see. So that's a hip drop tackle. So like it's literally like when you're going like at the tips and just like pulling down on their hips, because like that just you hurt the good old legs big time. All right, sorry.
Illegal handoffs. Yeah, I don't really even know how they do.
It's handing it off to an ineligible person. That's what it is.
You almost never see that. Illegal kicking is now more illegal. Beyond the line of scrimmage, loss of 10 yards. Now they're a loss of 5 yards and a loss of down. So there's no redo. Okay. Offense can no longer extend a half via penalty. Oh, yeah. The weird runoff situations. Is that what that is? Okay. Use of helmet. Butt ram.
So that was the used to. So now it's like impermissible because they just don't want you to use it as a weapon. So that's like the big stuff. This is just bylaw stuff. Like this, like rosters. Like now, there's only one cut down, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
there's one
from
cut down.
90 to 53. There's one.
There used to be like a couple of cut downs in which you had to get to a certain like level on your roster before the season actually started, or it's like August. It's like the last week of August.
Yeah, they went from 3 to 2. Now it's 1.
Yeah, it's just 1. So that's actually good because now you're going to see more, because the preseason games, what we used to see is people cut like after that because they had to get down to a certain thing. They're like, all right, you played like a week or two, and it screwed over players because it was like if they didn't get a lot of playing time in like that week 1 of the preseason, they were screwed. Now they can play through the entire preseason and see like, okay, like let's test them out a little bit, give them more play time, and then we decide who to cut.
Here's another thing we didn't really tie into it, but let's see here. 53-man roster. All right. Well, you want to add a second Thursday night game? Increase those roster spots.
I completely agree. Yep.
Like for each of the position groups. Another guy on the roster for your secondary, another guy on the roster for your linebackers, another guy on your roster for D-line.
But why won't they, Brandon? But why?
Oh, because you got to pay those guys more.
Louder, because we know about it with Pankert. Because paying someone, the difference between a practice squad player and a member of the active roster, as Kurt Benkert said, it is life-changing money. Life-changing. It is a chasm. So that's why.
That extra money you're getting from that extra Thursday night game going right into your pocket, huh? That's the only place the NFL wants it going, into their deep pockets, or as Tom called it, a prison pocket.
That's a different pocket.
But like, oh, we want to make more money, but God, it's not can't pay more players to be active for more wear and tear.
Yep.
Like, I think if they made the roster like 60 and players like, oh, we're playing Thursday night, but we've got more guys coming in rotationally or whatever, even if like a player can get an extra break during the season, they might be on board for it.
So let me just give you an idea, just so people know. I think I know the practice squad one. Okay. So practice squad players get paid $11,500 per week, which, by the way, that's still like a lot of money for like the door person. Like that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But they make $207,000 for 18 weeks, and that
if they're on it all 18 weeks,
correct. And so if that's the practice squad, and again, like then there's veteran players. If they have like 2 years of experience, they make a little bit more, but it's not like insane. The minimum so in 2021, the minimum if you're on the 53-man roster is $660,000. That's an increase of over $400,000. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, so let's say like adding 7 players to $400,000 to 7 new players. That's
a ton of money.
2.8 million more.
It's a lot of money.
That's not that much more though
for the salary cap, because like then you're talking about cap has to change too. Like it's a bunch of different things that you're gonna have. I'm telling you that they're not. I think because the big talk was after the NFC Championship game that they were gonna increase the like you could hold 3 QBs like on the active roster, you know, and that it's already met with like I don't know, it's gonna cost money, but yeah. There you go. That's how much the president makes. The difference between a practice squad player and an active roster spot is the salary of the president.
Hey, let players get money from special interest groups. You want to keep that salary low.
For example, like that's why. So Kurt talked about that. And the only reason I know so much about it is literally because of Kurt. Because when he was on the Falcons were nice to him and elevated him a couple of times. I don't know if it was just once or like a couple times to go into the active roster for that week. So he got a massive pay bonus for that week. So, yeah.
I'm defensive back Pat Surtain, brought to you by Big Pharma.
That's what you just get sponsored. That's easy.
Yeah.
It's fine.
All right. Did we navigate?
I think we navigated pretty darn well.
We were critical today of the NFL.
Sometimes
we got to criticize the thing we love.
You like football? Hey, get back.
We like football.
I love football. Yeah. Falcons signed Calais Campbell. So that was the thing too.
Oh yeah. That's a nice addition for them.
That is a nice. And did you see why? Is because like he wound up like Calais Campbell like was on a call I think with Arthur Blank and they had like a 40-minute conversation just about like how he can give back to the community because like Calais Campbell loves doing that in every single team that he plays for and like really becoming a member. And he's like, yeah, we're signing this guy. Like that's a nice story. So there you go. We crapped on you a little bit today, Falcons, but you got Calais.
If I'm Calais, I walk into Arthur Blank's office. I say, you take back what you said about Lamar. You take that back right now. And you do it publicly.
So that's a yearly salary, the difference between 200 and 600,000. So he just went up for that week because I think like practice squad players are like 11,000. And so it's divide whatever 660,000 is divided by 18. So he got that pay for that one day. So,
all right.
But Perna, what you got coming out, buddy? I feel like you probably have to pee.
Oh my gosh.
We're
going to get our Anthony Richardson video up today. Johnny got his computer back.
Yes, he did.
I'm going to be live streaming with Cole for How About Those There Damn Chiefs.
He changed his name. Okay.
In 10 minutes, I believe.
Oh.
And then Will and I will podcast later.
Okay.
And then I think I'm doing somebody else's podcast today.
Nice. When I did the late GPS with you, literally as soon as I got off, I went on with Andy Herman. Literally, as soon like the late night one we did. Yeah. Yep.
What do you have, Tom?
Tonight is going to be the Patreon YouTube member Q&A. because it's becoming the end of March really, really quickly. So that's going to happen. And I'm going to throw out a video today too. I don't just know which one yet. But yeah, don't worry. There's a vid coming.
Toy.
Go check out
come
Stan.
check out Cole's channel. How about those Chiefs?
Oh, yeah,
How
that's
about them
it.
Chiefs?
Go watch the Stan cover I made. I worked my ass off on it.
Yeah, and watch the XFL recap I did yesterday. Come on.
Yeah.
What are you,
Well,
9 out of
folks-
10? I got a 10 out of 10. We back to reality.
Yeah, baby. Well, folks, thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon Perna. Oh, sorry, this is a really great stretch. This is GPS, and you have been navigated.
And you've reached your destination, which again for me